I got a new slogan for the Canucks this season, man. It came from Tyler Myers and Brock Besser this morning. The vibes are high. Let's go, baby. Locked On Canucks.
Your Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks.
The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Hey, Trevor here, Kyle Bauer. Welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. We made it, man. We made it through what felt like, Kyle, one of the longest off seasons ever. And yeah, Canuck fans, I know you're used to this, unfortunately. What has it been? 8 of the last 10 years this team has missed the playoffs. And Kyle, many people are picking the Canucks to miss the playoffs again. Go check out any platform, man. The Athletic, Sportsnet thinks the Canucks are Ryan Dixon, man. Ryan Dixon thinks the Canucks are going to be in the draft lottery this year. But most experts, when you look around the NHL, are predicting that the Canucks are going to be the 10th best team in the Western Conference. Kyle, true or false? The NHL is sleeping on the Vancouver Canucks.
Well, I think there's just proof in the pudding, man. I think a lot of experts are still sleeping on Quinn Hughes. Like in no way, shape, or form, you're telling me a team led by Radko Gudas is going to finish higher than a team led by Quinn Hughes? No, straight up. Like that tells me that there's a good chance Ryan Dixon of Sportsnet, again, power rankings, go check him out. He has the Red Wings and Ducks over the Canucks going into the season. It's crazy. But that's just proof in the pudding, man. I'm pretty sure this dude is watching Quinn Hughes highlights, watching Canucks highlights game in and game out, and not the proof, right? Not the fact that Quinn Hughes plays 26, 27 minutes a night and he dominates. And just because of that, it feels like most nights, especially in games where you're not playing like the Avalanche or the Oilers, because of McDavid and McKinnon and McCarr and Draisaitl, that the Canucks, just because they have a superhero on their team, has a 50% chance of winning that game or getting out of that game with a point. Oh, yeah, the Canucks lost a lot of overtime games last year, too. Oh, yeah, they had drama. They had JT Miller and Elias Pettersson, Jerry Springer every single day in the dressing room. That's what it felt like. They had a lot of drama going on. All in all, we don't have that this year, but we still have Quinn Hughes, and he's just good enough to be better than the Ducks and the Detroit Red Wings. And then there was Dom Luszczyszyn's model, too, right? His model. Saying Buffalo's a better team than the Canucks, even if it's by 0.1%. It's like, am I tripping, or is the league literally still sleeping on the power of Quinn Hughes? And I know, historically speaking, he's been with us for a long time. We've only made the playoffs once, the bubble season 2. Boom, bam, do the math. But this guy's also not been helped. A lot of injuries, a lot of drama. All in all, Trevor, this just shows me that the Canucks are just the league is just sleeping still on Quinn Hughes.
They are sleeping on Quinn Hughes, and I think they're kind of sleeping on the rest of the team too. Like even when you break down the Athletic and why they have the Canucks there, according to their model, according to the fancy stats, what do you say, Kyle? Boop, 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 boop. They have like only Derek Forbort and Quinn Hughes as the only positive defensive players on that defensive team. Like not even Marcus Pettersson, not Philip Hronek. DPD just got crushed because he was playing sheltered minutes and has a small sample size. So you got to be careful with the numbers sometimes. But again, whether it's analytics guys, whether it's mainstream media guys, most people think the Canucks are missing the playoffs. And I like it, man. I like it. I think that's some bulletin board material for the locker room, okay? People are doubting this Vancouver Canucks team. Hopefully it allows this team to play a little looser, man. And look, we heard it from both Brock Besser and Tyler Myers today. Both of them said verbatim, the vibes are high, man. And, last year, obviously they were, spouting some optimism prior to the season, but I think they actually mean it this time when, the guys are saying the vibes are high and Quinn Hughes is saying that the Canucks are at peace. Now, Kyle, one of the things I am wondering is that obviously the Canucks have to leapfrog teams to get into the playoffs. So you look at some of the teams that were ahead of them in the standings last year, the Calgary Flames, the St. Louis Blues, the Minnesota Wild, the Utah Mammoth were right there with them as well, the Los Angeles Kings. Like which of these teams are the Canucks leapfrogging to get into the playoffs?
I'm humble, man. One step at a time. You just got to start with St. Louis and Minnesota. I'm not here to say, the Canucks are better than Los Angeles. The Canucks don't make the playoffs. The Los Angeles Kings do. And I know they look a little different this year. Some people are quote unquote doubting them just a bit. But I don't know. Did you see that game against Vegas last night? And I know I'm just running through the highlights there. And, I just made fun of Ryan Dixon for doing the same thing. But hear me out here. Man, oh man. Quinton Byfield looks different. Is this guy a top 2 pick, a top 3 pick, a former
second overall? I believe he was after Lafreniere in that 2020 draft.
And it seems like he's getting it. You know what I'm saying? And Kopitar's still playing at a high level. Like, those guys are still a good team. I'm just not ready to put us ahead of the Kings for sure. When it comes to regular season success and getting into the playoffs, I'll stay humble and I'll just say, again, with Quinn Hughes, with the strong D, with good goaltending, let's just be better than the Wild in St. Louis. Start there. For real. And Trevor, I didn't know some of the analytics, because, again, this is what you big J journals do nowadays. You guys don't even watch with your eyes. You guys just look at the calculator and the chart sometimes and make these conclusions, and it pisses people off. You're probably, Ryan Dixon is probably looking at the data saying, oh, Marcus Pettersson, Philip Roenick, these guys suck. These guys are they have 3 number 5 defensemen playing top 4 roles for this. This is not good enough. They're not watching with their eyes. Because, again, there's no reason to put them below the Ducks. It just pisses me off, man. I can't believe that. And yeah, I guess to play devil's advocate just a bit, it is wait and see. The Canucks are the Canucks. They've been historically just as bad as the Ducks in the last 10 years. It feels like that, right? So, or the Red Wings as well, right? You're almost getting into Buffalo Sabres territory with the lack of success here. So I understand why the narratives kind of paint the picture too. Oh, no, though, Canucks fans, and it starts today against the Flames. Trevor, I'm really excited to see how good this defense is. If they can tighten it up. In other words, I don't want them blowing a 3-goal lead to the Calgary Flames. It starts now. Be rock solid, right? Be Adam Foote-esque and just look elite from day one. And Trevor, to bring an NFL reference to it, you watch games sometimes and teams have really good defenses, right? Great defenses, and the defenses win games. I kind of want to see that from day one from the Vancouver Canucks, where it's yeah, we're a nasty piece of business every game in and game out. It's hard to get anything done against us, which, again, over the last 2 years, at times, for the majority, structurally speaking, they've already kind of accomplished that. But more so than ever, it just leads to wins and wins and wins. Because, yeah, defense wins regular season games. ASAP. I want to see it.
100%. And that's, something that the Canucks should be pretty good at this season, right? And, I think Adam Foote, when he was on with Chris Faber on the Canucks Insider podcast, I think he was asked about what he likes most about the Canucks defense. He said something along the lines of, all of it. He's brimming with confidence about this defense, and so he should be, right? Again, we talked about it all offseason long. Guys 1 through 3, looking great. Again, some curiosities to see where does DPD fit in if he plays on the right side. Can DPD or Mancini over the next month or so kind of move up the lineup, maybe even over a guy like Tyler Myers, who's entering his 17th NHL season overall. So lots on the line here. But Cobb, I think my last point here is this is a pretty big night for the Canucks. I know it's just game 1 of 82. But man, oh man, have the last 2 home openers been pretty telling for the Canucks season overall. Going into the 2023-24 season, the Canucks spank the Oilers 8-1, ends up being one of the best seasons in franchise history. And then, of course, last season against the Calgary Flames, they blow a 3-goal lead, end up losing a 6-5 shootout, in overtime. And that ended up being pretty telling for the Canucks. Crazy roller coaster season as well. So getting off to a good start tonight for your Vancouver Canucks is pretty important. Now, Kyle, I think as we get to the other side of this episode, I want to talk about what are our main storylines heading in tonight, and more importantly, applauding the Canucks, because man, oh man, they more details emerged about their pursuit of Marco Rossi today and how they reportedly kept a couple young bucks over the Minnesota Wild second line center. Let's touch on that on the other side. You're listening to Locked On Canucks. Oh, man. I was checking out the bets today over from our friends at FanDuel. Of course, it's NHL season, NFL season, MLB playoffs. They're all here. I don't know if there was an over-under on how many F-bombs are going to get dropped on live television yesterday with the Blue Jays advancing to the ALCS. But one of the ones I was checking out was Braden Coots for his first NHL game. Right now, it looks like he's plus 500 to score in his first NHL game, which honestly, I thought the odds might be a little bit better. This is an 18-year-old kid in the show. But man, oh man, you can bet on Braden Cooch scored a goal. Jonathan Lecker-Mackey, that'd be my bet. Jonathan Lecker-Mackey power play goal would be my bet going into tonight. But whatever you're betting on, make sure you use FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So, Kyle, what are you waiting for? Go visit FanDuel.com and download the FanDuel app today to get started.
People, we back doing this, and that's gassing up your Vancouver Canucks. My name's Kyle. That right there is Trevor Beggs. People sleeping on Vancouver. Again, on one end, it's rightfully so, because we're not far away from being the next Buffalo Sabres and the Detroit Red Wings, based on not the fancy stats, but real life, Trevor. Okay? Honestly, the real standings, the stuff you used to get in the province, the newspaper, not these chat GPT, AI, robot calculations you guys are doing. I'm pretty sure hockey analytic departments are the ones that started the demise of the whole nation, because you guys probably invented artificial intelligence with all your calculations.
Yeah, look, man. It's not all about the numbers, okay? You got to watch the games, okay? I'm not gonna be one of those guys that's like, I don't even watch the games. I just look at the numbers, man.
Trevor, if there's like ever a photo that gets posted on Twitter of you in the media booth on your calculator and not watching the game, I'm gonna slap you across. You know what? Let's get to the comments. Man, oh man, Mother Knucker saying tonight is I get my first installment of the Pettersson ROI Locked On Canucks fantasy hockey draft. I'm actually liking it. I've actually looked at the last, because I like all the points. You know, it's like a hit of dopamine. You know, it's like, whoa, this is crazy. I don't get this many points in fantasy football. But Mother Knucker did draft Pettersson, and dude, I know you want to talk about Marco Rossi and how we kept Braden Coots and Atu Ratu for him, which is cool. I like it. I like the attitude. All in all, though, come on, Trevor. We're 12 minutes into this episode, and it's like, oh, yeah, defense. Oh, yeah, Marcus Pettersson, Tyler Myers, Philip Hronik, you're sleeping. Dude, a big reason why people aren't respecting us is because people have made their verdict on Elias Pettersson, and they truly believe that he is a top 100 player and not, or top 150 player, not a top 20 player, a top 10 player, you know, like they're done with it. They're not looking at him ever going back. Not only is some part of the fan base like that, which again, I would give them the pass to do so, because it's been 20 months, including one playoff run where he was absolutely invisible for real. All in all, though, like I'm pretty sure Todd Bertuzzi had more production in the 2004 playoffs than Elias Pettersson did in 2024. Okay. Okay. I gotta slow down here. Okay. Trevor. That's why. That's why people are disrespecting us, right? Because it's the Elias Pettersson thing. And I want to see it from day one. I want to see the bounce back. I want to see the excitement and the responsibility stemming from him, because I don't know. I know some people in 2025 don't like when fans say this, but he owes us something here.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the Elias Pettersson revenge tour that he himself hyped up about a month or two ago. But look, I mean, this guy, the entire preseason, entire training camp, all he's had is his teammates pumping his tires. You know, Quinn Hughes talking about how shitty it was for him last year to go through what he went through, both on a personal and professional level, how he believes he's going to bounce back. Adam Foote's been raving about this guy. You know, that quote still stands out to me from the first training camp. This is his best practice in a year. And the fact he talks about Pettersson's leadership growing, how he came to town early with Demko, like all these little things. You know, I have seen some of the bursts at practice as well, like that oh shit look in Linus Karlsson's eyes as Pettersson wheels around the corner on a one-on-one drill. So, I mean, look, this is a huge season for Elias Pettersson. Every dayers know we did our bold predictions. Go check that out earlier this week. My expectations are a little bit more tempered than yours, Kyle. But man, oh man, I mean, the Canucks season like rides and dies with this guy. And I do find it interesting too. So some of the comments from Rutherford yesterday when he was on Sportsnet 650 talking about he's going to be used in different situations, right? Again, we've seen him in defensive roles before, penalty killing roles, being the last guy out on the ice in the last minute of a game, but things that he hasn't been regularly used for over the past couple seasons. So it's like on the one hand, he's a superstar player, but on the other hand, you're expecting this guy to double his point total and, kill penalties and take on more defensive matchups. Like, the Canucks really are asking the world of this guy, but in fairness, he's getting paid to be that guy.
He is. And Trevor, conspiracy theorist right here, and maybe this is how we cap off this conversation about Elias Pettersson, because we have to talk about fourth line centers right before the game, right before the third and fourth line centers before game one starts of such an important year. All in all, though, Trevor, I wonder if Elias Pettersson lost a step in his swagger, his charisma, his confidence, because he was no longer looked upon because of JT Miller's rise, even as a two-way player in 2023, 2024, to, again, be that guy. Like, they immediately made JT Miller the shutdown center and had him do all these things and had him play the matchups. And I wonder if Elias didn't benefit from less responsibility, because prior to Miller getting that responsibility and prior to Rick Tocchet getting here, correct me if I'm wrong, and you know what? I'll give you permission to go into your calculator right now. Like, wasn't Elias Pettersson the shutdown guy? Wasn't this guy the Datsuk? Wasn't this guy supposed to be our version of Barkov, or our version of, like, yo, like, you put this guy against the best players? You know what I'm saying? And I wonder if, again, that being stripped away from him made him less himself. And it's kind of ironic how Rutherford the day before the season's like, oh, he's going to have a lot more responsibility. Like we only looked at him to produce offense, when, like, Elias Pettersson, when he's at his best, he's A, way better than JT Miller, and B, instinctually speaking, like, he has that ability. Like, it shouldn't be a surprise for us to see this guy being used more in other roles outside of, producing offense as a number one center.
Yeah, 100%. And look, I mean, this is what Pettersson should be able to do, right? And I always found it surprising. I mean, the longtime everydayers on Locked On Canucks know this. I was saying it back in 2023 that Pettersson should have been the guy with the defensive matchups, right? Like, he statistically has been a better defensive player. I think that matches the eye test as well. I think the only reason JT Miller was there, and maybe him and Tocchet were just making leaks to the media, who knows, last season. But JT Miller's got that grinder type of game, right, where he's in your face and he's noticeable and he's physical. But we saw the lackadaisical back checks all throughout his Canucks career, right? And again, he got a lot better in that role as time went on, but it's a role that always should have belonged to Elias Pettersson in the first place. And now the Canucks don't really have a choice. You have Philip Hedl, Braden Coots, and Aatu Ratu behind them at center. Pettersson now has to be that guy who's going to be the matchup player.
Okay. No. That's so funny how we're so high on this season, and, like, the vibes are even high for us when you just completed that sentence. Like, at least last year we had Pius Suter, right? You know what I'm saying? Anyways, comments. Andrew, man, hey, maybe the vibes were bad last year for the Vancouver Canucks, as Andrew took a whole year off commenting on the show, for real. Andrew saying 40 goals and 105 points this season. Hey, Andrew's a man in the wilderness. He's a busy guy, okay? He's actually a real man. I'm pretty sure he hunts cows.
No, hunts cows. No, this guy's definitely skinning some moose right now for sure, as he's commenting on the show.
There you go. He's a real person. Anyways, Andrew also saying Pettersson was is still one of his best defensive forwards, his favorite defensive forwards. And just give him the responsibility, Trevor. Like, give him all the hard stuff to do. Because he can do it, but also because it's Hedl, Ratu, and Coots behind him, and it's something to smile at. But that's like, Elias Pettersson, like, this is it. This season, it's ironically harder for you to on paper to, like, excel, considering you don't have the backup that was Miller. But man, oh man, I mean, have fun with the responsibility. Best of luck, and if you can't do it, Mark Messier 2.0. That's just the way it is.
Oh my God, Kyle.
What? What?
Oh my God, I'm putting you in podcast jail for that one, man. That's dude. Don't even. It's the first game of the season, man. Don't even say that name on the air, man. Unbelievable.
I'm just saying in general, Trevor. Like, I know you're a nerd too, and you love the not the outcome sometimes because they involve your teams, but the storyline is, like, if Elias Pettersson doesn't bounce back, straight up. Like, he's going to be a villain. And it's going to be worse than what Huberdeau is to Calgary. It's going to feel personal. That's just the way it is. We're sports fans. We're not human. We're not nice people, you know?
Let's end it on this note, and then we'll wrap up with some news and notes on the other side. A lot of Canuck fans, obviously, last January, it was Team Pettersson versus Team Miller, and a lot of people wanted Pettersson traded. I do believe that take's going to look pretty silly in a few months' time. Again, I don't know if Pettersson's going to bounce back and be a 100-point player, but I do strongly believe that take's going to look a little silly. Locked On Canucks, Trevor Banks, Kyle Bowen. We'll be back. No ad read for me. Just going to scratch my sack and see you on the other side here on Locked On Canucks.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. My name's Kyle Bowen. That right there is the second best dad in the world, doing his thing. Being at practice, being at the rink. I do want to touch on something that you said earlier that made me really excited, because I do also know you being one of the most honest people I've met in life. And, I banked what you said earlier. It's really good stuff. Stick around, Canucks fans, because the key to success is hope. On all, though, let's get to some comments first here, again, on Locked On Canucks. Blue Charmander. Yes, Blue Charmander saying, excited about tonight. Let's go, boys. Trevor, I don't know if you're one of those guys bullying Jake DeBrusk for playing with Pokemon, but can you just, Trevor, you just strike me as a bully back in the day. Like, nerd, giving people wet bees, taking their lunch money. Anyways, that's a conversation for another day.
What? No. And for anyone who's met me in person in high school, I weighed like 120 pounds, had a dirty Sanchez mustache, and I had a mop of hair on my head. So, I mean, I definitely was not that type.
I feel like I've seen your type on CNN, though. You can't. Come on. It happens. Okay. Hold on. All I'm saying it. Okay, Trevor. Did you play with Pokemon? What's your favorite Pokemon? I know I asked you this before, but I kind of just, I don't know. I'm just curious, man. I'm having fun. What's your favorite Pokemon?
Man, I kind of liked like Ghastly, like that gas Pokemon, like the with the little floating fists up there, you know what I mean?
Oh,
kind of like me, just kind of sneaky, mysterious, and then bam, right in the kisser,
Yep, there you go, right in the kisser, man. Boom, bam. I told you were a bully, man. That was a manipulative answer you had there. Next comment. Dan Jardine saying Kyle is laying Begsy out today. I don't know. We're just having fun here, man. We're just having fun here, okay? And speaking of having fun, I think like shooting the shit, having fun, poking fun at each other. Ironically speaking, Trevor never makes fun of me on air because he's a professional and he's trying to be a good role model to his children. Hit the like button, make his children proud. All in all, though, Trevor, like, again, you haven't been in the room because I know that's not how it goes nowadays, but it's like you've been around the rink and now you were there for I guess less than 30 days. And you mentioned it earlier about like the vibes being high and all this jazz. Like, can you be specific about that? Just as per, I don't know, confirming or denying that there's more smiles, there's more laughs, more jokes, more dabs. Like, how loud is the practice, for example? Like, does it seem different than last year? And I know last year you're a part-time practice goer, but you were still there at times. Like, does it just seem louder, seem better, seem friendlier, seem more vibey?
I'd say from the practices I was at last year, there was definitely less like hooting and hollering going on at practice. You know what I mean? Like, Derek Forbort goes down the rush and scores a goal. Like, everyone's going, hey, and like hollering at him. I saw DP and Hughes kind of getting in like a pushing match. Obviously, they were just kind of doing it for shits and for fun. Brock Besser's a pretty vocal guy at practice too, compared to a year ago, I'd say. So it certainly seems like the vibes are better. In terms of being in the room, Kyle, I can let you know it's Surrey boy Archie Baines is sitting with Braden Coots, by the way. So there you go, man. That's the Canucks 18-year-old and the best Canuck of all time because he's from Surrey, BC. Archie Baines sitting together. So that's good vibes right there, man. But look, I mean, the fact that every player has gone out and said it, Hughes, Besser, Myers, it certainly feels like a better Canucks team this year. So yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to get too carried away, But there have been moments throughout training camp and preseason that make you feel like this year is going to be different. But I do hold my tongue a little bit because we haven't even played a goddamn game yet. So let's see what happens when the game started rolling, baby.
But at least, A, we play tonight, and B, we play against Edmonton on Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least there's a litmus test. Is that how you say it? I didn't read science. At least there's that on Saturday, and at least we play Dallas on Thursday too. So like 2 out of our first 4 games. You can even throw St. Louis in that mix too. Like our first 4 games, like I would on a scale of 1 to 100, how challenging it is. I would say 95, dude. We're just the Canucks still, one step at a time. So we're gonna see again like what this team's got ASAP. Anyways, next comment. Mother Knucker, thanks for the $5. Christmas is coming up. Hit the like button, support the show. We got girlfriends and wives, not plural. But yeah, just again, happy wives, happy lives. Thanks a lot, Mother Knucker. He's saying, here's $5 for the number of goals we scored tonight, aka the number of Genos. Pettersson with 1, Ronick with 1, Lecker Mackey with 2, and then Kiefer with the other. Mother Knucker, maybe you should just donate $1 for every goal the Canucks score the whole year. And on that note, I hope the Canucks score 1,000 tonight.
I mean, look, I'm trying to remember what they were average last year. I know they were bottom third of the league. I think it was like 260 goals. I mean, like hitting 300 would be a pretty good mark for the Vancouver Canucks. But look, it doesn't matter to me necessarily, like being one of the highest scoring teams in the league. Like I said before, Kyle, that you definitely just want to be an average team offensively. That is the path forward for these Vancouver Canucks. And curious to see tonight. Maybe I'll look it up quick as we wrap up the show. Who's starting tonight for the Calgary Flames? Because it wouldn't shock me if it's another Dustin Wolf start. He's a young chap. It's early on in the season. But man, oh man, they could catch a break if they go up against Devin Cooley, who they just lit up in the preseason. But hey, goaltending's weird, man. You never know.
You never know. And Calgary's pesky, man. That's the thing too, man. Calgary's pesky. They're going to play hard. They're going to make it hard. I don't think they like Vancouver, and I also don't like, I think that they did take a personal, that they did so much work last year only to be disrespected again going into the season. So they're going to play with a bit of edge for a while, and they're going to be a hard out offensively and defensively. Like that's just what they're going to be. Again, I just see them being always a pesky team and working hard for the coach. All in all, though, Trevor, let's end the episode off with some of the news you heard today about Marco Rossi. I think it was Earth, if that's correct, talking about it. Did he talk about it on the sheet or did he write an article? I'm not sure. He mentioned that the Canucks could have got Marco Rossi. I'm paraphrasing just a bit. They could have got him if they were willing to give up the 15th overall pick and Willander, or is it just Willander?
Here, I'll break it down for you. So basically, it was Irf wrote about this on Canucks Army this morning. He said apparently, so we'll see how his sources, but he's been right in the past. He said apparently the Canucks or the Wild asked for Willander straight up in return for Rossi, and I found that interesting because the Canucks said no to that. Now, Kyle, what would your thoughts have been on that? Willander for Rossi, would it have been a hard no for you, or would that have given you some food for thought?
It would have given me some food for thought, but I think the Canucks are, they're just prioritizing, culturally speaking, moving forward. That defense is the biggest thing to them. Like there's just a premium on that mark, and maybe they're trying to build in their minds like the greatest decor ever assembled, for real. And also just keeping Tom Willander because you don't know what's going to happen with Quinn Hughes. So like, again, there's a premium on that guy. And, we mentioned this throughout the offseason. As much as like we wanted that second line center, we were much more enamored with a guy like Mason McTavish based on like pedigree and what, I don't know, like just this play style, and maybe like he had a bit more JT Miller in him, aka he was more, he just seems like a more sure bet to be a second line center. Whereas Marco Rossi, like he's solid and analytical darling and all this jazz, but there just seems to be, is he a top 6 guy or is he a top 9 guy? And when you're giving up Willander, you have to be certain that you get a top 6 guy.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm pretty sure Marco Rossi is a top 6 guy, but Willander could also be a top 4 rate shot defenseman, and those guys are pretty damn valuable as well. And look, I think the Minnesota Wild, if they made that pitch to the Vancouver Canucks, I mean, this is all obviously not like confirmed details, but if they made that pitch to the Vancouver Canucks, it's interesting because they were the team that traded Kevin Fiala in a package for Brock Faber. So they've done a trade like that before with a guy who profiles similarly to Tom Willander, who absolutely broke out and looks like a freaking stud in the NHL. So I agree with you, Kyle. Would have given me some food for thought, but it's pretty early on Willander. And I'm not sure if Marco Rossi is the guy, although I do think Marco Rossi is for sure a second line center. But Tom Willander could be a damn good player as well. So you do got to be careful with the guy like that. Now, the other report from Irfan Gafar is that after that trade was turned down by the Canucks, the Wild asked for the 15th overall pick, Atu Ratu, and Artur Shilovs in exchange for Marco Rossi. And the Canucks then also turned that down as well. So obviously at this point, they hadn't drafted Braden Coots, but there was a ton of smoke around this team about them drafting Braden Coots, right? If he was available, one of the only guys they interviewed at the Combine. So in effect, they did turn down Coots, Ratu, and Shilovs in return for Marco Rossi. So that's looking not so bad now that Braden Coots has had such a monster cap. But even then, like the 15th overall pick in Atu Ratu, I know Shilovs was getting traded regardless. To me, that does feel too rich as well, though, Kyle.
Are you playing like, well, what's the quote, revisionist history, or like that saying, like at the time, were you
take Coots out of the equation? I'm just talking about the 15th, Ratu and Shilovs. To me, that would have been still too rich for Marco Rossi, but it does, like I said, he's a good player. He's a top 6 guy for sure, but I think Atu Ratu is a solid top 9 guy. I think you probably get a top 6 guy with that 15th overall pick. And obviously, Artur Shilovs, that's a tough one because he got such potential, but he was leaving anyways. I mean, man, if we had this conversation in June, though, would it have been different? Because, for how much matters with Quinn Hughes in the season coming up. But even then, I still feel like that was maybe a bit too rich for Marco Rossi. But maybe it's because I'm saying this in October and not June of 2025.
Yeah. And then, again, sign us out after you answer this question. Put your fan hat on. How does this all make you feel about Rutherford and Alvin? When it comes to talent assessment, being patient, and having trust in their scouting staff and some of these younger players that they've been developing, because it seemed like they were desperate, but they're not moving desperate. And as a fan, as an older fan, 32 and a half years old, I'm a grandpa now. I like that. No, I like that. I like that. I like the stoicism and potentially them having a higher standard of what they're going to trade for with the haul they're giving up for a second line center. Because you could say Rossi's a second line center. I haven't watched him game in, game out. I'm not like Trevor and a legitimate hockey nerd, but obviously red flags if this guy's getting demoted to the 4th line in a playoff series.
Yeah, I think that's the Wild being. I don't think you belong there, to be completely honest with you. But that being said, you asked the question about Alvin and Rutherford and their patience. I know we're in year 4 of the Alvin regime now, and this team, for his sake, does need to be a lot better than they were last year. They need to make the playoffs, or I do think that seat gets pretty damn warm under Patrick Alvin's rear end. But that being said, it's nice to see a management team take a patient approach when you had Jimbo the Dimbo in charge for a long time before that, man.
Trevor, okay. Jimbo the Dimbo. That's a new one. And that's it. That was another episode of Locked On Canucks. Hopefully his children don't work for the mob. And Trevor, go Canucks go, man. Hit the like button, support the show. Boom, bam. Go Canucks go, for real. Just have some faith. If Pettersson comes back, we'll be fine. And have some faith, okay? Hope is dope. Hope is a beautiful thing. And anything is possible. Listen to me, Trevor Beggs. I know this sounds crazy because teams win championships and all that jazz. And boom, bam, bada bing, bada boom. But have faith that Quinn Hughes' aura, his ability, his superstardom can do the unthinkable / work miracles for our Vancouver Canucks. And remember, if he gets 1 more point or 2 more points, he breaks the record for all-time leader in defensive scoring, I think. Could be a historic start to the season, a tone setter.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And look, my Canucks excitement overtook me for a second. That wasn't very nice, man. I'm sure Jim Benning's smarter than me, but that's a low bar. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I'm just excited, man. Another Canucks season's underway. Another chance to do Locked On Canucks with my brother Kyle Bowen here, doing the Canucks shows here during the day. The postcast, oh baby, it's coming out in some way, shape, or form, and I just love doing this for you, tuning in. If you like what we're doing, you can share the episode with a friend, like and subscribe on YouTube. On the podcast side, go follow us and leave a 5-star review. And Kyle, let's get it going, man, because Canucks hockey, it's back, baby.
Your Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.